Hokage get burning art at the start, Chapter 321 to 340. Chapter 321 The Power of the Orochi. Fortunately, that Uchiha Madara is so powerful. If it is an ordinary person, I am afraid that a face-to-face effort will become nothing in the wind. At this time, Uchiha Madara saw that Kazama's strength was so awesome, so powerful. He secretly said that if he were to follow the wind, he would be beheaded by the wind in all likelihood. But if Uchiha Madara is allowed to escape like this, then Uchiha Madara absolutely cannot do it. After all, Uchiha Madara is a very face-saving person. How could he run away for no reason? Therefore, this Uchiha Madara immediately performed another psychic spell and summoned the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Fox. What? Uchiha Madara actually channeled all Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Foxes. Below saw Uchiha Madara's psychic beast and was shocked again. After all, this Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox is the head of the nine-tailed beasts, with the power to destroy the world. How this doesn't shock Senju Hashirama's heart. At this time, Uchiha Madara, with the help of the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox, started laughing again. Let me tell you Xiao Zamao, don't think that your own strength is very powerful, and you can be arrogant in front of me. The ninja you do must not only rely on your own strength, but also be able to use external power. The spirit beast Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox is my foreign power. I want to see how awesome and powerful your magical Susanoo is. Give it to me. As soon as Uchiha Madara finished speaking, the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox, who was forcibly controlled by Sharingan, immediately headed towards the wind and killed it. At this time, Fengjian smiled coldly after looking at it, still not afraid at all. Because Kazama not only has the god-level Susanoo, he also has the full power of the nine-headed beast. Therefore, the wind can easily hang the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Fox. But when Kazama saw this Uchiha Madara, he dared to look down on himself. So I decided to give this Uchiha Madara a good slap in the face. So Kazama pretended to be invincible and let Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Fox attack his Susanoo. At this time, Uchiha Madara didn't know that Kazama was about to pretend. He didn't even know he was about to be beaten in the face. Therefore, he was still laughing at the wind. He, the little girl in the wind, have you seen the power of my Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox now? Let me tell you, my Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox is the overlord of the ninja world, and who gets it Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox, who is the overlord of the ninja world, so you can't be my opponent at all. Okay, since that's the case, then I'll let you see my true strength. At this time, the voice in the wind room fell, and immediately put away the god-level Susanoo. Then he changed his body, and immediately exerted his power of the eight-headed snake. At this time, the eight-headed snake that changed with the wind appeared. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, who were immediately frightened, were terrified in their hearts. Because Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, is the head of the nine-tailed beasts. But this eight-headed snake is the legendary creature. They have never even seen it before, so they are naturally shocked in their hearts. And they never expected that the wind could actually possess the power of the legendary monsters. At this time, Uchiha Madara was shocked to see the eight-headed snake that had changed in Kazama, and immediately thought that the secret path was not good. After all, the strength radiating from the Orochi Baki now is even more powerful than his own Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox. Chapter 322 The Power of Ten Tails. So this Uchiha Madara once again commanded the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox to attack the Orochi, trying to take the lead. But Kazama had already expected Uchiha Madara's actions. Therefore, Orochimaru immediately made 8 attacks with different attributes of wind, thunder, water, fire, earth, melting, ice, and rain at the same time. A face-to-face effort, he killed the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails demon fox. Although Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, is powerful, its most powerful power is Kaiden, fire style. So in the face of these 8 different attributes of the attack, The Kyubi Ninetails demon fox was naturally a face-to-face kung fu, and was beaten and defeated. This immediately shocked Uchiha Madara even more. So Uchiha Madara performed a face-to-face kung fu, and immediately performed the full-body Susanoo again. And covered the armor of Susanoo on the body of Kyubi Ninetails demon fox. Hehe, Xiaozha Mao, I tell you, now my trick is the prestige Susanoo, how about it? Haven't seen it before. Now my Susanoo and Kyubi Ninetails demon fox have the same power, so the time of death for you little bastard is coming. Susanoo in that way suit. With a single face-to-face effort, the 8-headed snake that was transformed by the wind was defeated and retreated. Hehe, I didn't expect Uchiha Madara to have a lot of tricks. Well, since that's the case, then I'll show you my prestige Susanoo too. What, how is this possible? That Fengjian actually pretended to be Susanoo. But at the same time he was shocked, Kazama had also cast Susanoo to cover this Orochi. Then this Orochi, dressed as Susanoo, immediately fought with the big Kyubi Ninetails demon fox. You must know that Kazama's own strength is much higher than that of Uchiha Madara. Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, they used this Yaki Orochi to pretend to be Susanoo, and defeated Uchiha Madara's majestic Susanoo in a row. And at this time, when Na Fengjian saw that Uchiha Madara was so impatient, he sneered. However, although Uchiha Madara was beaten by Kazama, he was still unwilling to give in. Still scolding incessantly at the wind. At this time, Kazama saw that Uchiha Madara was clearly not his opponent. But now he still dares to act in front of him, he dares to be so arrogant, and he doesn't even listen to his persuasion. The wind was instantly furious. Kazama knew that this Uchiha Madara was a character who did not hit the southern wall and did not turn back. So Kazama decided to use more powerful abilities to let Uchiha Madara feel the gap with him. So Kazama changed his body again, and immediately used the power of 10 tails. Kyubi Ninetails slumped to the ground in fright as the 10 tails in the wind appeared. Now even if Uchiha Madara uses Sharingan to forcibly control Kyubi Ninetails does not dare to play against the 10 tails who follow the trend. After all, every tailed beast has a very strict level suppression. Although Kyubi Ninetails can suppress the other 8-tailed beasts, Kyubi Ninetails will also be suppressed by this 8-tailed beast. This is the coercion of blood, and it is a fact that cannot be changed. So now with the fear in the heart of the Kyubi Ninetails fox, that Uchiha Madara who controlled the Kyubi Ninetails fox with Sharingan, he also felt the terrifying power of the 10 tails that had changed in the wind. Chapter 323 Ready to Sling Black Zetsu. At this moment, Uchiha Madara was caught off guard, and immediately collapsed to the ground in fright. How about Uchiha Madara? I don't think you have seen this 10 tails that I have transformed, so now I will tell you that your Kyubi Ninetails and other 8-tailed beasts are all created by me, the 10. The power of tails is scattered, so do you think that a Kyubi Ninetails in mere now can beat my Kyubi Ninetails? Quote. Hearing Kazama's words, Uchiha Madara also realized that he was indeed not Kazama's opponent, which made him extremely angry. But even if he was angry in his heart, he knew that he could no longer fight against the wind no matter what. After all, he knew that there was only one outcome in the battle with Fengjian, and that was to be killed by Fengjian. Because Kazama's current strength is indeed too arrogant and too powerful. At this moment, Kazama immediately removed the 10 tails body and restored its original appearance. Then he said to the Uchiha Madara, I told you Uchiha Madara, didn't I tell you before? You have been charmed by the Black Zetsu, and Black Zetsu also used his special ability to change the steel of your Uchiha family. Content that makes you want to occupy the cells of the Senju clan. What? How did you know? At this time, Uchiha Madara didn't understand what Black Zetsu was talking about in Kazama's mouth. But as soon as he saw Kazama actually revealing his purpose, Uchiha Madara was taken aback again. Because Uchiha Madara really wants to occupy the cells of the Senju family. In this way, he can obtain the power of the god of ninja world. I tell you Uchiha Madara, if you get the cells of the Senju family, then it is undeniable that you will indeed become very powerful, but this powerful power of yours is only temporary. In the end you will still be killed by Black Zetsu controlled. What? Is this true? Uchiha Madara was shocked when he heard the solemnity of what Feng Jian said. In addition, the strength of the wind today is so superb, so awesome. Then Uchiha Madara had to believe even if she didn't believe it. Of course. Kazama said that. He probed with one hand, immediately cast Bansho Tenon, Universal Pull, and sucked the Black Zetsu hidden in the dark into his hand. What is this time? Seeing that Kazama actually sucked a mass of black things from the ground into his hands, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama were all shocked. Because they have never seen such a creature. You little bastard, I didn't expect you to be so damn sensitive, you could actually sense my existence. This is the trick that Black Zetsu saw that he had worked so hard for many years, and it was cracked by Kazama so easily. This suddenly made that Black Zetsu furious in his heart, and he was furious. But even Black Zetsu's anger was of no use. Because with his current strength, there is simply no way to break free from the shackles of the wind. At this time, Kazama ignored Black Zetsu at all, but said to Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama again, you can see now, it is this Black Zetsu, who bewitched your two families and made you two. There is a fight in the clan. If you really fall into their tactic, then both of your clans will go to ruin, so the top priority for you now is to stop fighting immediately, so that the entire ninja world will enter peace, which is also the result you want to see. Chapter 324 Regain Yuhi Lotus Karma Fire. This one. Hearing Kazama's words, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama also nodded solemnly. After all, their dream from the beginning was to bring the world to peace. And the reason why Uchiha Madara fought against the Senju clan was because he was bewitched by Black Zetsu. He thought that as long as he used the power he had acquired and cast infinite Tsukuyomi, the world would be at peace. But he didn't know that this kind of peace was only short-lived, and it wasn't that serious peace at all. But now Black Zetsu sees that Kazama dares to sabotage his plan again and again. This made him go wild, and Black Zetsu immediately unleashed a Yuhi-colored flame. In a face-to-face effort, he killed the wind. I said Black Zetsu, do you really think a mere Yuhi Lotus Karma can kill me? Seeing the Yuhi Lotus fire that Black Zetsu casts, Kazama immediately gave a cold smile. Afterwards, he used the Shinra Tensai Almighty Push sign to blast the Yuhi Lotus Karma and Black Zetsu out 100 meters away. It turned out that the room had already sensed the Yuhi Lotus Karma that Black Zetsu possessed. But Kazama is not afraid at all. After all, this Yuhi Lotus Karma was a subordinate of Kazama before. Like the Jinglian demon fire, they all surrendered to Fengjian and recognized Fengjian as the master. Therefore, Kazama immediately said to the coquettish beauty who was cremated by Yuhi Lotus Industry, now you can surrender again. Want me to surrender to you, delusional? Before Kazama could finish speaking, the bewitching beauty that Yuhi Lianye Huo turned into, he once again killed Kazama towards Kazama. What? How is this possible? Yuhi Lotus Karma Fire, who should have surrendered himself like pure Lotus Demon Fire. Yuhi was indiscriminate, as if the 6 relatives did not recognize him and called to kill him. Feng Jian was immediately shocked. At this time, Black Zetsu, who was in the distance, immediately laughed at Kazama. How about Xiao Mao? Although I don't know the origin of this Yuhi Lotus Karma, but now that you can say her name, she must have been your subordinate before, but even so, now she will not. I surrender to you again, because I have placed my Black Zetsu cells on her, and now this Yuhi Lotus Karma fire will only be at my will. So it is. Hearing Black Zetsu's words, Kazama immediately laughed instead of angry. Because if Kazama didn't know the reason why Yuhi Lotus Karma attacked him, there might be no way to subdue Yuhi Lotus Karma. But now that Black Zetsu is stupid enough to tell the reason why Yuhi Lianyahuo betrayed him, Then there is a way for Kazama to convince Yuhi that the lotus industry is on fire again. After all, Kazama already has 22 other kinds of different fires. Therefore, it is naturally easy to remove the black Zetsu cells in Yuhi's lotus fire body. But Black Zetsu didn't know that there were other strange fires in Kazama, so he thought that as long as he mastered Yuhi Lotus Karma, he could easily hang Kazama. So this Black Zetsu sneered, and scolded the wind again. Little bastard, don't think that your strength is superb. You can pretend to be in front of me. You must know that the strength of this Yuhi Lotus Karma is even more powerful. Great trick, even more awesome. Just as Black Zetsu kept insulting Kazama, Kazama had already escaped into the body of Yuhi's Lotus Karma. After a few face-to-face efforts, the Black Zetsu cells were burned into nothingness. What? How is this possible? At this time, Black Zetsu suddenly felt Yuhi's lotus fire, and he was no longer under his control. This suddenly scared the Black Zetsu back a few steps and broke out in cold sweat. Chapter 325 Non-stop slapping Black Zetsu. It may not be that you have the final say, but I have the final say. At this time, Kazama immediately looked at the terrified Black Zetsu and laughed. Yuhi, who regained his sanity and got rid of Black Zetsu's control, hurried to Kazama's side. I'm really sorry, I was deceived by the Black Zetsu cells before, so I attacked you, Master. I hope Master will spare my life. Oh. Upon hearing Yuhi Lianyahuo's words, Kazama felt very strange. Because the previous Yuhi Lotus Karma was very high profile, and his character was very arrogant. Even she loves to ignore her own master Feng Jian. Seeing Yuhi Lianyahuo's attitude towards him now, Kazama is naturally very strange. At this time, the Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire reverently said to the wind again, Master, you don't know anything. The reason why I ignored you before was because your strength was not superb, and you did not get that there are 23 kinds of strange fires that are serious, but now, including me, you have obtained 23 kinds of strange fires, and now you have become the king of strange fires. You are the strange fires, and the strange fires that is you, so naturally I have to respect you. So it turns out, it seems that this world is really the strong prey to the weak, and it really has the strength to conquer everything. Hearing Yuhi Lianyahuo's words, Kazama immediately smiled and nodded. At this moment, that Black Zetsu saw that Kazama had managed to conquer the Yuhi Lotus Karma, and he took it back so easily. He even got into a fight with the coquettish beauties painted by Yuhi Lianyahuo, and flirted there. This suddenly made that Black Zetsu even more furious, and he was furious. Although Black Zetsu is just a product of Otsutsuki Kagaya's will. But this Black Lord is also a hungry ghost. Previously, he saw that the coquettish beauty that Yuhi Lotus Karma turned into was very beautiful, and he also wanted to take advantage of that Yuhi Lotus Karma. But although the Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire was controlled by the Black Zetsu, the Yuhi Lotus Karmic Fire itself was sacred and inviolable. That's why Black Zetsu was shut down countless times. Now Black Zetsu sees Kazama not only taking away Yuhi Lotus Karma, but even gaining Yuhi Lotus Karma's heart. Black Zetsu was instantly furious, and he was furious. After a face-to-face effort, he immediately started yelling at Feng Jian. You little bastard in the wind, do you really think I'm afraid of you? I tell you that even if you take away the fire of Yuhi's Lotus Karma, I'm not afraid of you. Hearing Black Zetsu's words, Kazama was not afraid at all, but instead started laughing wildly. Hee, I said Black Zetsu, I didn't expect you to be so arrogant in this parallel world now. Did you forget that in the real world, you were constantly being hanged and beaten by me? Hang your mother. Black Zetsu doesn't know what a parallel world is, nor what a real world is. In short, when he saw Fengjian being so arrogant and powerful, it naturally made him angry. So Black Zetsu killed him in a face-to-face manner. At this time, Kazama saw that Black Zetsu's death was imminent, but he still dared to act in front of him. That Kazama sneered all his life, and let Black Zetsu attack him. Prepare to give Black Zetsu a fatal blow when Black Zetsu gets close. Chapter 326 The Surrender of Uchiha Madara. But what Kazama didn't expect was that now this Black Zetsu is simply a trick or treating method. Other words, Black Zetsu itself does not dare to fight against the wind. After all, Black Zetsu's ability is very rubbish. How can he dare to fight against the wind? Today's Black Zetsu just wants to make Kazama careless. He just wants to make Kazama think he won't run away. And now Kazama is indeed caught in Black Zetsu's trick. Just when Kazama stood there, preparing to wait for Black Zetsu to attack, that Black Zetsu suddenly slipped into the ground and disappeared. This sudden change made the wind a bit dumbfounded. After all, Kazama had really thought about Black Zetsu wanting to have a real fight with him. But he didn't expect that this parallel world of Black Zetsu was actually a useless person. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were shocked when they saw the culprit, Heiju, running away. So he hurried to Kazama's side, and said respectfully to Kazama, "I said this little brother, didn't you say that this Black Zetsu was the culprit? Now that he has escaped, wouldn't that be a nuisance to us? Is the ninja world causing more chaos? Don't worry, now this Black Zetsu has escaped, but as long as I am here, he can't escape very far, and the main purpose of this Black Zetsu is to cause chaos in the ninja world, so it won't be long before he will take the initiative. Dedicated, so as long as Black Zetsu appears, I can search for its trace, and as long as he dares to come out again, I will definitely turn it into nothingness." Quote. Brother Fengjan, you really are awesome, then we'll listen to what you have to say. Hearing Kazama's words, Uchiha Madara and Hashirama were very happy. At this time, it stands to reason that the scenery has already obtained the Yuhi Lotus karmic fire, and all 23 kinds of different fires have been collected. The original plan was to take a time machine back to the real world. But Kazama had previously promised Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara to help them eradicate Black Zetsu. Plus Black Zetsu, this guy is really a bastard, chop suey. If Black Zetsu is allowed to continue here, then with Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, there is no ability to kill this Black Zetsu. Although Black Zetsu's combat power is not good, the body structure of Black Zetsu is completely different from that of ordinary humans. Even smashing it into meat, it can be revived. So Kazama decided to stay here and help them kill the Black Zetsu. So Kazama took advantage of this time to help Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara and others establish Konoha. And ninjas from other countries, seeing Kazama and others established Konoha, immediately followed suit. This is where Sunagakure village in the land of winds, Haze village in the land of water, Kumogakure village in the land of thunder, and Iwagakure village in the land of earth. There are also ninja villages in other small countries, etc., etc. It can be said that it has everything. But what Kazama did not expect was that the ninja villages in these countries have now been established. To actually have the brows of war again, this is far beyond Kazami's expectations. The main purpose of Kazama's establishment of Konoha is to establish a good ninja system. It can also contribute to the peace of the ninja world. But now that the ninja world has fallen into war again, Kazama is naturally full of reluctance. Chapter 327 Back to the Past United 5 Shadows. So Kazama immediately united Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara. Prepare to form an alliance with the ninja villages of the other 4 countries. But as soon as Kazama's proposal came out, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama immediately shook their heads. What do you mean? Why are you rejecting my offer? Words, Uchiha Madara immediately said with a wry smile. I am Kazama's little brother, you may not know it, although your strength is indeed very powerful and powerful, even if you want to unify the ninja world, it's very easy, but the premise is that you use force to rule the ninja world. If you don't use force, but you want to form an alliance with other ninja villages, then they will definitely not accept you. Oh, why is that? Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, the wind immediately became confused and puzzled. It's very simple, because the ninja villages in the 4 major countries, Sunagakure Village, Kumogakure Village, Kurigakure Village, and Iwagakure Village, are also not weak. Although they are not as good as our Konoha, their leaders are all arrogant and domineering. They are not willing to join us. So now if we really want to ally with them, there is only one way, and that is to kill their leaders, then let them surrender to us, and let them become our affiliated forces, so that we can achieve that righteousness. Piece of the 8 Classics. This one. Heard Uchiha Madara's proposal, Kazama immediately shook his head. Oh, could it be that little brother Kazama, don't you agree with my proposal? Hearing Uchiha Madara's question, Kazama smiled again and said, I don't completely disagree with your proposal, I just think your proposal is too extreme, we might as well find a compromise. Oh, what's the compromise? In fact, Senju Hashirama does not agree with Uchiha Madara's proposal. After all, Senju Hashirama is a kind person, and he can't do it if he kills the leaders of other ninja villages. It's very simple, if according to what you said now, the leaders of these 4 ninja villages are all arrogant and domineering, then I can indeed suppress them with force, but there is no need to kill them, but to clean them up. Be obedient, so that they can listen to my words, and only by listening to my words, then they can know the strength of our Konoha. As long as they know the strength of our Konoha, then they will definitely be willing to ally with us. Quote. After all, whether it is a person or a group, they are willing to ally with a powerful force, so that their status can be raised. Not bad, what you said is very reasonable. Hearing Kazama's decision, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara immediately nodded happily. After all, they also felt that Kazama's proposal was very correct. And after making up his mind at this time, Kazama led Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others. The leaders of the 4 ninja villages were immediately called together. But what Kazama didn't expect was that the leaders of these 4 ninja villages were all arrogant and domineering as Uchiha Madara said. When they heard that they were going to join forces with Konoha village, they sneered. Chapter 328 Ready to hang the original Raikage. Then they saw that Kazama was young now, but he still dared to be on an equal footing with their leaders. This made them even more angry. Especially Raikage, the first generation of the Country of Thunder, has a more grumpy temper, and he stood up with a slap on the table. Then he pointed at Funyun's nose and scolded loudly, "What are you little bastards? You dare to let us unite with you? I tell you, even if we join with you, then we have to be your masters, and you are going to be our prisoner, are you right?" Not bad, not bad. Quote. Hearing the words of the original Raikage, the other cage-level masters also burst into laughter. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara dared to look down on Kazama when they saw this first-generation Raikage. This suddenly made them furious and furious. After all, they are very aware of Kazama's strength, and they also respect Kazama very much. Therefore, they must not tolerate this first-generation Raikage underestimating Kazama. So Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara immediately joined forces and killed the first Raikage. At this time, the first generation of Raikage was also a grumpy, fearless person. Although he knew that Senju Hashirama and his Uchiha Madara were powerful, he was not afraid at all. Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, the first Raikage fought with Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. It's a pity that 2 fists can't match 4 hands, no matter how powerful he is. How can one person beat the combination of 2 people? Therefore, after a few face-to-face efforts, the first generation of Raikage was obediently taken care of by Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. Then the 2 sneered at the first Raikage again and said, "How is it? Are you convinced now? Hee, don't give me this shit." But what Kazama didn't expect was that the first Raikage had already been beaten by Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. But they are still not convinced, and not only are they not convinced. He even sneered at the wind. "Let me tell you, little bastard, even if I'm convinced now, I'm still convinced by Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, but I'm extremely unlucky for you little bastard, because I don't know you at all. I don't know you. I don't know what you are from. You dare to be the leader of Konoha, and you dare to match us with you. I tell you, if you want us to join you, then you will fight with me. I don't believe your strength can beat me. This one. At this time, upon hearing that the first-generation Reikage was fighting against him, Kazama immediately smiled and nodded. At this time, the Senju Hashirama and the Uchiha Madara immediately began to gloat over the misfortune. Then the two immediately rushed to the first Reikage and said, I said that you were really strange. People always pick up soft persimmons and pinch them, but you can kick whichever piece of iron is hard. I tell you, don't look at our little brother in the wind. You must know that the strength of our little brother in the wind is unprecedented, and no one will come later. Stop giving me the fucking words. At this time, the first Reikage did not listen to Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara at all. Instead, he thought that Senju Hashirama and that Uchiha Madara were excusing the wind. Chapter 329 Start hanging the first-generation Reikage. Therefore, he felt even more that Fengjian was a useless person. At this time, the first-generation Tsuchikage, the first-generation Mizukage, and the first-generation Kazekage on the other side had the same idea as the first-generation Reikage. They also thought that the wind room was a piece of trash. So they all rushed to the first Reikage and said, the first Reikage, now you have to teach this little bastard a good lesson, or everyone will dare to act in front of us cage-level masters in the future. Oh, of course it is. First-generation Reikage finished speaking. He immediately used the trick that Kumogakure village was good at, that is, the lightning armor. With a face-to-face effort, he killed in the wind. It's still Yuhi-colored lightning. The lightning of this first-generation Reikage, it is not only Yuhi-colored, but also so powerful. The wind was immediately shocked. However, even if the Raiden Thunder style of the original Reikage is awesome and powerful, it is of no use to Kazama. The first Reikage saw that he was less than 10 steps away from Kazama. But that Kazama was still standing there and didn't move at all, and the first-generation Reikage sneered. Immediately afterward, he secretly cursed in his heart, Xiaozha Mao, this is something you didn't avoid yourself, so don't blame me for being ruthless. First-generation Reikage made a face-to-face effort, and immediately used all his strength to hit the Tianling guy in the wind. If it is an ordinary person, I am afraid that this face-to-face kung fu will be beaten into Mi-chan. But what Reikage didn't expect from the first generation is that now after his palm hits Kazama's forehead, Kazama is actually intact. This was so frightening that the first Reikage took a few steps back, sweating coldly. This was something he never expected. At this time, the three of Tsuchikage, Kazekage, and Mizukage were also shocked. After all, the three of them had previously felt the attack of the original Reikage, but it was very powerful and powerful. Even if they were slapped alive, they couldn't stand it. But now the wind is actually intact, which naturally refreshed their worldview. At this time, the first-generation Reikage saw that he had clearly boasted about the sea, saying that he could blow his bones into ashes. But it never expected that Kazama's defense was so powerful. It was so easy to block his full blow. This is naturally a big surprise to the original Reikage. At this time, the first generation of Reikage also had a Yuhi on his face, and immediately felt extremely embarrassed. After all, he failed to pretend to be forced now, and was slapped in the face by the speed of light in the wind. This is something that the original Reikage could not accept. Therefore, the first generation Reikage made another face-to-face effort, and immediately killed it in the wind. But Kazama is still standing still, allowing the first Reikage to attack. Now the first generation Reikage has done everything possible, but it has yet to hurt the wind. This suddenly made the first generation Reikage even more terrified. Impossible, this little brat seems to be ordinary now, why is he so powerful in defense? It's almost that 360-degree defense without dead ends. If I can't hurt this little brat in the slightest branch, then am I too shameless? No, I can't just give up. The first generation of Reikage said secretly in his heart immediately. 330 hanging the first generation of 4 shadows. Thinking of this, the original Hokage immediately came up with an idea. Then he sneered again and said into the wind, "I said, you little bastard, you are really like the 1,000-year-old bastard, your body is so hard, but no matter how strong your defense is, it doesn't matter. Eggy, if you want me to subdue you, then you must show me how awesome and powerful your attack is. Do you really want to see me fight back?" Kazama saw that this first-generation Hokage couldn't even break through his own defense, so he actually wanted to do it with himself. This suddenly made the wind burst into laughter. He felt that the original Hokage was a person whose brain was kicked by a donkey. "Nonsense, I'm just going to have a real fight with you, how about it? Are you not convinced? If you are not convinced, then go eat shit right away." It really pissed me off. Kazama never expected that a dignified cage-level expert would open and close his mouth full of swear words. Feng Jian was furious at this command. So Kazama immediately unleashed his super strange power. A face-to-face effort, he killed the first Hokage. "Hee hee, little stray hair, seeing your palm is so ordinary, I don't even need to dodge it." Since the original Hokage saw that Kazama's attack did not have any attributes attached. That's why Kazama's current attack was just an ordinary taijutsu. But what he didn't expect was that although Kazama is performing taijutsu, it is not an ordinary taijutsu. It's that serious super physique. At this time, the first-generation Hokage was no good, and was immediately blasted out by the wind 100 meters away. This sudden change suddenly shocked everyone. At this time, it was said that it was the first generation of Hokage, and the first generation of Kazekage, the first generation of Mizukage, and the first generation of Tsuchikage were all shocked. They never expected that Fengjian was so powerful now. In a few face-to-face efforts, the first generation Hokage, who was not weak among them, was sent hundreds of meters away. Therefore, the 3 cage-level masters hurriedly whispered to each other, "If the 3 of us are fighting against the wind alone, maybe we really have no certainty of winning. But now that we don't fight him, don't we 3 cage-level masters have to surrender to this kid Kazama? We absolutely cannot conquer him." The 3 cage-level masters thought of this, and they all slapped the table and killed them in the wind. This is something that the wind never expected. Because they had clearly stated before that it was a wheel battle. But now these few cage-level masters are so rebellious that they want to besiege themselves. But the scenery is not afraid at all, even if they are besieged by themselves, it is useless. Because Kazama's current strength can already beat these cage-level masters. At this time, Kazekage, Mizukage, and Tsuchikage attacked Kazekage, and said with a sneer at Kazekage, "I tell you, Xiao Zamao, although it is said that youth is better than blue, but your song Xiao Zamao will never exceed us cage-level masters." Seeing the attack of these 3 cage-level masters is already oncoming, Fengjian smiled coldly, and immediately used his heavenly hand. Exchanged the position of the first-generation Hokage in the distance with himself. After that, only a rumbling sound was heard, and the attacks of the 3 cage-level masters had all hit the original Hokage. This sudden change suddenly shocked everyone present. Chapter 331 4 Shadows Conspiracy. What the hell is going on here? At this time, the 4 cage-level masters were all stunned by Kazama's current series of operations. They never expected that Fengjian could switch positions in an instant. Kazama's actions today have already exceeded their worldview and have subverted their imagination. At this time, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama below, also never expected Kazama to have this skill now. This suddenly scared them into a cold sweat. Especially that Uchiha Madara, because Uchiha Madara had fought hundreds of rounds with the big room before. But Kazama never used this skill on Uchiha Madara. At this moment, Uchiha Madara suddenly thought that if Kazama had used that skill on him, then all your attacks will hit you. Didn't he just die a long time ago? As soon as he thought of this, Uchiha Madara fell to the ground with 5 bodies that Kazama immediately admired. At this time, Kazama immediately said to the 4 cage-level masters who were full of surprise, how is it now? Are you willing to be convinced of me? That's it. 4 level masters heard this. They immediately looked at me and I looked at you, and they all looked at each other in dismay. Because it stands to reason that they are indeed not the opponents of the wind now. But if they were really convinced, they would be very reluctant. After all, Kazami is young now, and they are all adults. How can an adult surrender to a young man? So these people are immediately reluctant. Therefore, the 4 level masters got together again and discussed with each other. What do you guys say to do? Well, do you want me to say that we might as well run away now? Hee, how is this possible? Hearing that one of the cage level masters wanted to escape, the other 3 level masters shook their heads into rattles. Don't you know, Kazama has called us here now, and the purpose is to make us surrender to him. If we don't surrender and flee directly, then Kazama will attack our ninja village in all likelihood. At that time, we will be able to escape and the monks will not be able to escape the temple. Well, you're right, but if we really surrender to this young man, I'm still a little unconvinced. Since this is the case, then we might as well assign a very difficult task to Fengjan, so that we can not surrender to Fengjan, but also can save face. What kind of mission is this? Hearing the words of the original Reikage, the other 3 level masters immediately became interested. It's very simple. You also know that there are 9-tailed beasts with powerful tails scattered in our ninja world. Among them, the cubit 9-tails demon fox has been subdued by the Uchiha Madara, but the other 1 to 8 tails have not been captured. Subdued, and the strength of these tailed beasts is also good. We deliberately said to Kazama, let him go to subdue these 8-tailed beasts. Only if he subdues we will be willing to surrender to him. By that time, this little miscellaneous hair in Kazama will definitely be fooled. What if he might as well subdue these tailed beasts? Yeah, Kazama is not a fool after all. Hearing the first Reikage's plan, the other 3 shadows immediately put forward different opinions. Chapter 332 Subdue the Tailed Beast. That's better. If he doesn't agree, we can justifiably not surrender to him, and we don't have to lose face, and if he agrees, he still can't complete this task, so we don't have to surrender to him. Not bad. Hearing the words of the first generation Reikage, the other 3 shadows immediately smiled and nodded. Fengjan is a young man. Since he is a young man, he will definitely hit my tricks, so you don't have to think so much. Having said that, the first Reikage immediately sneered at Kazama and said, I tell you Kazama, if you want us to surrender to you, yes, but you also know that we are all the leaders of the ninja village now, just ask Ruruo. We surrender to you, and even if we want to, then the subjects in our name will not. Okay, don't talk nonsense anymore, just say it. In the end, what should I do before you can surrender to me? It's easy. At this time, the first generation of Reikage was overjoyed when he saw that Kazama seemed to be fooled by himself. Then he rushed to the wind again and said, you also know that there are 9-headed beasts scattered in our ninja world today, and among them, the cubit 9-tails demon fox has been subdued by your Konoha, Uchiha Madara. Then if the other 8-tailed beasts you can also be subdued, then we are willing to surrender to you. What? Fraud, me too. At this time, Kazama hadn't opened his mouth yet, but Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama immediately scolded the first Reikage. I said the original Reikage, you are such a villain. Yeah, don't you know that the strength of these tailed beasts is very terrifying, very awesome, let alone our Konoha ninja village. Even if our 5-nation ninja villages are united, it is impossible to beat these 8-head tailed beast. Besides, these tailed beasts are all bloodthirsty people, and they don't have any intelligence. How could they be tamed? Now you are doing this to our little brothers in the wind. Hee, don't give me this shit. At this time, the first generation Reikage saw that Senju Tobarama and Uchiha Madara did not seem to agree with his decision, and immediately sneered. Because his purpose is to make Kazama disagree, as long as Kazama doesn't agree with the decision. Then he can justifiably not surrender to Fengjan, and he can take advantage of the situation to regain his face. But he didn't expect it. and now he is arguing with Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. The wind immediately sneered and said to him, "No problem, I can go and conquer these 8-tailed beasts." "What? Is this true?" Seeing that Kazama agreed to this bet, the first Raikage was immediately overjoyed. "I said, boy, did you kick the donkey in your head?" At this time, the first generation of Mizukage, the first generation of Tsuchikage, and the first generation of Kazekage immediately laughed in the wind. "I said, you brat in the wind, don't brag about the big Kiba. Yeah, you have to know that the strength of these tailed beasts is very strong, very awesome. Even if you can beat us with bruises and bruises, then you can't beat these tailed beasts. After all, the strength of these tailed beasts has already reached to the point of destruction. Okay, stop talking nonsense with me, I will ask you where these tailed beasts are now. As long as you can find these tailed beasts, then I can take them all in one fell swoop." Chapter 333 Hanging Shukaku. "Okay, you said it yourself." Such a vow, the first Kazekage sneered in his heart. In the Sunagakure village of the first generation of Kazekage, a Shukaku happened to be imprisoned. He also used a variety of methods before, trying to subdue this Aikyo Shukaku. "So that I can become the one of Shukaku's Jinchuriki column force, but it has not been successful." Therefore, when he saw Fengjian willing to do it for him, he was immediately overjoyed. And he also knows that Shukaku's strength is very superb and very powerful. He thought that since Fengjian was not afraid of death, it would be better for Fengjian to try it. If Kazama can really convince Shukaku of this tale, then he will take advantage of the situation to become the Jinchuriki column force for Shukaku. If Aikyo Shukaku cannot be subdued, Kazama will definitely be beheaded by Aikyo Shukaku. At that time, he can still not surrender to Kazama. So the first Kazekage thought, and immediately led Kazama, Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others to his Sunagakure village. Then he sneered at Fengjian again and said, "I told you Fengjian Xiaozao, don't blame me for not reminding you. This Fengyan's strength is very high-end, very powerful. Our entire Sunagakure village uses. I did everything I could and exerted my strength to completely imprison that Shukaku, so you better understand." Hee, don't give me this shit. As the first Kazekage finished speaking, Uchiha Madara immediately sneered at the first Kazekage. Because Uchiha Madara knows Kazama's strength very well. Even that Kyubi, Nine-Tails, Demon Fox was no match for Kazami before. Shukaku be that Kazama's opponent now. And this is when the first generation Kazekage saw Uchiha Madara dare to curse at him, and he was immediately furious. But even if he was furious, he didn't dare to retort. After all, he knew that Uchiha Madara's strength was very high and powerful. At this time, Kazekage didn't want to deal with the original Kazekage too much. Instead, he immediately came to the imprisoned Aikyo Shukaku. At this time, Shukaku has been imprisoned, so it is said that he has been in a coma. At this time, the first generation Kazekage saw Kazama coming, and immediately untied the shackles of Shukaku. By the way, he also cast a spell to provoke Shukaku's roar, making his temper even more irritable. The purpose is to use the hand of Shukaku Aikyo to kill Kazama. Kazama now has that serious super perception. Can clearly see the small action of the first generation of Kazekage. But Kazama now knows that his top priority is to subdue Shukaku Aikyo. Therefore, for the small movements of the first generation Kazekage, Kazama has not dismantled it for the time being. So Kazama made a face-to-face effort and immediately killed Shukaku. At this time, Shukaku on the other end was furious when he saw that someone dared to take the initiative to find an attack. Directly performed his own life ninjutsu, which is the art of sand escape. At this time, the overwhelming sandstorm rushed towards the wind. The original Kazekage and the other 3 films immediately sneered haha. Because they have never seen the true strength of Kazami. Therefore, they thought that no matter how powerful Kazama was, it was absolutely impossible to beat Shukaku. Chapter 334 Continuously slaughtering the 7-headed tailed beast. But they didn't expect it, just when they thought Kazama would be beheaded by Shukaku Aikyo. That Kazama not only resisted the sandstorm attack from Shukaku's tail intact. Even the sandstorm attack of the other Shukaku was turned on the other Shukaku. In a face-to-face effort, the one who fought for Shukaku was defeated in a row. This frightened the 4 cage level masters in shock. They never expected that Fengjian would still do this trick now. The reason why Kazama is now able to rebound Shukaku's attack is because of the ability of Yushu Ice Mirror. Although it is said that this Jade Void Ice Mirror was attached to that Susanoo by Kazama. However, as long as the Wind Rune wants to use it, it can still be seconded at any time. And at this time, Shukaku is a violent-tailed beast. Now, as soon as he saw Fengjian district alone, Lei knocked himself to the ground. Naturally, he was even more annoyed in his heart, and then he whistled towards the wind again. It's a pity that Kazama didn't pay attention to Aikyo Shukaku at all. Therefore, Kazama immediately cast his own unique pupil technique of Samsara Sharingan. In a face-to-face effort, the one controlled by Shukaku docilely obeyed. At this time, the 4 cage level masters thought that Shukaku, who had run wild, could kill Kazama. But they never expected that this one-tail Shukaku had just attacked halfway and was directly controlled by Kazama. This suddenly shocked them even more. At this time, Kazama sneered again and said to the 4 cage level masters, "How is it? Now do you believe that I can conquer the tailed beast? This one." At this time, the 4 cage level masters were shocked when they saw that Kazama really subdued Shukaku. However, in order to save face, they naturally rushed to the wind again and said, "I tell you Xiaozao, don't think that you can persuade Shukaku to act in front of us, you know that we still have 2 to 8 tails here. I don't believe you can subdue the remaining 7-tailed beasts." At this time, the first generation Raikage, the first generation Tsuchikage, and the first generation Mizukage were talking, while immediately ordering his subordinates to lead all the 8-tailed beasts here. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, once they saw these 3 cage level masters, were so shameless. It was clearly agreed that Kazama would control the tailed beasts one by one. But now they have gathered all the remaining 7-tailed beasts here. To know the strength of a tailed beast may not be enough to fear. But if these tailed beasts are all gathered together, it will be a particularly powerful existence. Therefore, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara were instantly furious in their hearts. So he immediately prepared to help Kazama resist the attacks of these tailed beasts. But Kazama immediately waved at them with a smile. Don't worry, if I can't even deal with these mere tailed beasts, then there's no need for me to make these cage level masters surrender to me. Hee, you little bastard, you really like to talk big." At this time, the 4 cage level masters heard the wind that they could recover these tailed beasts by themselves. Immediately, he burst into laughter again. Because they don't believe that Kazama can conquer these tailed beasts at all. But just when they didn't believe it, that Kazama has once again cast his demonic illusion unique to the Sharingan of Samsara. Chapter 335 Just for You. After a few face-to-face kung fu, together with the other 7 head-tailed beasts including Shukaku. They are all controlled by the reincarnation Sharingan in the wind. Now the reincarnation of the wind, once Sharingan's pupil technique is used, these 8-headed beasts are all obedient to the wind. They all surrendered to Kazama. The 4 cage level masters who were so frightened immediately took a few steps back and broke out in cold sweat. Originally, they made a bet with Fengjian, and their purpose was to make Fengjian retreat. But they never expected that now Fengjian not only did not retreat in spite of difficulties. They even slapped them heavily in the face, which was something they never expected, and something they never wanted to believe. So these 4 cage level masters immediately looked at me and I looked at you, all looking at each other, not knowing what to do. And at this time, after the wind had subdued these 8-tailed beasts, then he said to the 4 cage level masters again, "I tell you, Kazama never said that I want you to surrender to me, I just want you to live in peace with Konoha, don't care whose status is high, and don't care who has a lower status. In short, we are all subjects of the ninja world, so we still have to maintain the peace of the ninja world, but you have to think that I want to ride on your neck and shit, and now your idea is wrong. Although my practice is superb, I will never cover the sky with one hand, so I hope you can live in peace. Quote. Stop giving me the fucking bullshit. At this time, the first generation Hokage slapped himself in the face one after another as soon as he saw the wind. This suddenly made him furious and furious. Then, with a face-to-face effort, he was killed in the wind. Although he knew that he was not Kazama's opponent, he couldn't tolerate Kazuma's constant pretense in front of him. And this time that Senju Hashirama and that Uchiha Madara. Once you see this first-generation Hokage, it is obviously not the opponent of the wind. In addition, Kazama has already completed their bet. But now they still dare to act in the face of risk. Therefore, the two of them were immediately furious and furious. Immediately, it was a face-to-face effort, and he killed the first Hokage. A few rounds, the original Hokage was bruised. At this time, the Kazama did not stop Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. After all, Kazama also felt that this first-generation Hokage was indeed too sincere and domineering. He is obviously not his opponent, but he has to pretend to be in front of him. How can this not make the wind angry? So this Kazama sneered at the first Hokage again and said, I tell you the first Hokage, if I want to kill you, then it will be as easy as breathing, but now I haven't done anything to you. I just hope that you can put down the butcher knife and become a Buddha, but now you are pretending to be forceful in front of me one after another, so don't blame me for being futile and cruel. Quote. Kazama said and immediately prepared to kill the first Hokage. At this time, the first-generation Hokage heard Kazama's words, and saw Kazama sneering towards him. When even felt a breath of death coming. The first-generation Hokage, who was so frightened, fell out in cold sweat. You must know that the first generation of Hokage has never felt such terrifying coercion since its birth. Chapter 336 You have to obey. So the first-generation Hokage hurriedly said into the wind again, I was wrong, I was really wrong, I am willing to surrender to you now, can I? This. At this time, seeing that the first generation of Hokage is willing to surrender to Kazama Street. Then the remaining Tsuchikage, Mizukage, and Kazekage immediately fell to their knees in front of Kazama. They are also all planted with Fengyan's constant begging for mercy, hoping that Fengjan can spare their lives. At this time, Fengjan saw that these people finally stopped fighting against him, and immediately laughed. Okay, now you are willing to surrender to me sincerely, then I will save your life, but I want you to know that now you surrender to me is secondary. The main purpose is to hope that you can maintain the peace of the ninja world. Now you and Konoha are ninjas from the 5 kingdoms of the ninja world. As long as you can unite together, then the ninja world can fall into long-term peace. Quote. Of course we know that. At this time, the 4 cage level masters, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, also nodded happily at Kazama. After all, maintaining peace in the ninja world is the long-standing dream of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. But they know that the two of them are powerful. It's impossible if it's just the two of them. Let the masters of the entire ninja world listen to them. But now the wind has done it now. Now Kazama has brought the entire ninja world into peace with his own power. This naturally made Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama very happy. But what Kazama and the others didn't expect was that the 5 great nations of the ninja world had just joined together. The 4 cage level masters were immediately surrounded by a black thing. A face-to-face effort, the eyes of the 4 cage level masters immediately turned from bright to dark. Then the 4 cage level masters immediately sneered at the wind room. Hee, the little girl in the wind, do you still remember me? Black Zetsu, you bastard. Although it was said that Kazama couldn't see who this shadow was. But Kazama knew that under this world, he could use spiritual fusion to control others. Only Black Zetsu is the only bitch. Yes, it's your grandfather and me. Black Zetsu saw Kazama's rude words to him, so he cursed at Kazama too. Let me tell you the wind, my strength is not what it used to be, and I have already controlled these 4 cage level masters. I don't believe you can beat me. If you know each other, if you do, then immediately kowtow to me and beg for mercy. If you insist on not kowtowing to me and begging for mercy, then I will definitely smash your corpse into thousands of pieces and smash your bones into ashes. Haha, it really made me laugh. At this time, Kazama hadn't spoken, but Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara immediately sneered at Black Zetsu. Because they all know that this Black Zetsu is Kazama's defeat. Now Black Zetsu, a defeated general, actually dared to act in front of them, which naturally made them sneer. So Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara pointed at Kazama's nose and cursed. I tell you Black Zetsu, our little brother Kazama has beaten you to the point of being bruised and bruised by our own power before, and we kindly spared you one dog life, let you run away, but now you are fucking obsessed, and you dare to pretend to be in front of our little brother in the room. I said you are still human. You are a bastard. Chapter 337 Silly Black Zetsu. Don't give me this shit. Black Zetsu this time because of the control of 4 cage level masters. So his character has also become extremely arrogant. And he didn't take that Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and Kazama in his eyes at all. Instead, he immediately sneered and said to them, I, Black Zetsu, have always been fearless, and I didn't take you ants in my eyes at all. That's right, I was really bruised and bruised by this little Harry in the wind before, but it wasn't because the wind deliberately let me go, it was because I was so powerful that I escaped by myself. But you have to know, it's not too late for Kunzi to take revenge for 10 years. Although it was said that I escaped at the time, but now, I'm back again. And now I only have one purpose to come back, and that is to burn yourselves to ashes. As soon as Black Zetsu finished speaking, he immediately controlled the 4 cage level masters and killed them in the wind. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara immediately helped Kazama to start the battle with these 4 cage level masters. But what Rei, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama didn't expect was, now Black Zetsu actually performed spiritual fusion again to control the 2 of them. At this time, after Black Zetsu took control of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, he immediately burst into laughter. Then he rushed to the wind again and said, how about Xiao Mao? I have already said that my current strength is far from what it used to be, and the strength of my spiritual fusion is also very powerful, so you can't at all is my opponent. Hehe. I also told you Black Zetsu, you bastard. It's easy for me to kill you in the wind. Don't think that now you control these cage level masters, you can act in front of me. Don't give me this shit, don't tell me anything big, I don't believe you can kill me. If you have the ability, then let it go. As soon as Black Zetsu's voice fell, he killed the wind again with a face-to-face effort. And at this time, Kazama didn't lose in the slightest. And with a face-to-face effort, he had a hard-to-find fight with Black Zetsu. At this time, Black Zetsu thought that he not only controlled the 4 cage level masters, but also controlled Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, who were equally powerful. He should be fully capable, and he can easily kill Kazama. But he never expected that now Kazama's strength is beyond his imagination. Even these 4 cage level masters teamed up with that Uchiha Madara Senju Hashirama, and they failed to harm the room one bit. This suddenly shocked Black Zetsu's heart. At this time, Kazama said to Black Zetsu again, I tell you Black Zetsu, if you want to live now, then you should immediately release the control of these people, otherwise I will definitely make you unable to survive or die. Haha, it really makes me laugh. At this time, Black Zetsu knew that Kazama was extremely powerful, but he didn't take Kazama in his eyes either. Black Zetsu naturally scoffed when he heard Kazama's threat to him. Therefore, Black Zetsu immediately sneered and said to Fengjian, I also tell you Xiao Mao, I know that your strength is very high, and I also know that you are very good, but no matter how good or bad you are, you can't be my opponent. Now you have the guts to kill me, but you have to show me that if you kill me, then the people I control will also be killed by me in an instant. It really pissed me off. As soon as Kazama saw that Black Zetsu was so arrogant and domineering, he was immediately furious. So he immediately cast his own different Fire Emperor flames. You must know that this Emperor Yan has a natural suppressing effect on that Black Zetsu, coupled with Kazama's proficiency in manipulating this strange fire. Therefore, Kazama entered the body of Reikage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage Mizukage's Enju Hashirama, and Ikea Madara without knowing it. After a few face-to-face efforts, the Black Zetsu cells in their bodies were burned into nothingness. At this time, Black Zetsu never expected that Kazama actually had a way to get these people out of his mind control. This suddenly scared the Black Zetsu into a cold sweat. To know that Black Zetsu itself has no fighting power. And Black Zetsu's main combat power is spiritual fusion, controlling others to work for themselves. But now Kazama has cracked his trump card. Black Zetsu is naturally frightened. Chapter 338 shocked the crowd. Black Zetsu, now your time to die has come. At this time, Kazama faced Black Zetsu again with a single face-to-face effort. Because now Kazama has removed the Black Zetsu cells in Hashirama and others. So Kazama is now finally on the verge of killing. And just when Kazama thought he could kill Black Zetsu, however, he suddenly saw a dense army of ninjas appearing behind the Black Zetsu. Shocked Nakazama and all the cage-level masters. Because these thousands of ninja armies are all ninjas in the ninja villages of the 5 countries. What the hell is going on here? At this time, Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others immediately sent out bursts of questions. Hee, you bastards, do you really think that I have no certainty, so I dare to fight with you? Just when Kazama and the others were puzzled, Black Zetsu had already sneered at Kazama and the others. I tell you Xiaozao Mao in the wind, I know that you are very powerful, and I also know that I can't kill you by myself, so before I came here, I had already set up the ninja village in your 5 countries. The second hand is to inject all the ninjas of your ninja villages from the 5 countries into my Black Zetsu cells, so that your ninjas will obey my orders. Quote. Impossible, it's absolutely impossible. At this time, before Black Zetsu finished speaking, the first generation Reikage with the most irascible temper immediately scolded Black Zetsu angrily. I may not know about the ninjas in other villages, but the ninjas in Kumogakure village, the land of thunder, all recognize me as my master and are my good brothers. They will never obey your orders no matter what. I said Reikage, what do you mean by that? Hearing Reikage's words, Black Zetsu has started to refute. On the contrary, Mizukage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others who were beside him immediately scolded him angrily. Do you mean that apart from your Kumogakure village in the land of thunder, all the ninjas in our ninja villages are traitors? Everyone, I didn't mean that. Seeing that everyone was angry, this first generation Reikage also knew that he might have said the wrong thing just now. Therefore, he immediately nodded and bowed at the crowd, and kept apologizing. Okay, you little bastards, don't give me dog bites here again. At this time, Black Zetsu scolded Kazama and the others again. I tell you bastards, no matter how loyal your ninjas were to you before, but now that they have been injected with Black Zetsu cells by me, they will obey my orders. Don't give me this set. I've never heard of Black Zetsu cells, so I don't believe your so-called Black Zetsu cells can do anything to me. At this time, the first generation Reikage immediately took the lead in killing Black Zetsu. At this time, Black Zetsu smiled instead of angry. Immediately ordered the Kumogakure village ninjas behind him to attack the first generation Reikage. What? How is that possible? At this time, the first generation of Reikage never expected it. Now, he was really attacked by ninjas in his own village. So the first generation Reikage was immediately full of resentment, and shouted at the Kumogakure village ninjas under his command. You bastards, you open your dog eyes and see who I am. I am your leader. I think it is the first Reikage of Kumogakure village. You dare to attack me. You are clearly a traitor. Chapter 339 I can't believe you are so arrogant. At this time, no matter how the first-generation Hokage scolded the ninjas of Kumogakure village under his command. But none of his original subordinates paid any attention to him. They still kept attacking Hokage. At this time, according to Hokage's original strength, he could easily hang his original subordinates. But he also knew that his subordinates were now attacking him. These subordinates still rushed into Black Zetsu's control. They have lost their wits of their own. If he really kills his original subordinates, then it is tantamount to beheading the living force of his own village. This is not what a village chief should do. Therefore, this first-generation Hokage can only stand and retreat. At this time, the other three Mizukage, Tsuchikage, and Kazekage also thought that Black Zetsu would not be able to control the ninja in his own village. But now I see the first-generation Hokage being beaten by ninjas from his own village and losing out. They naturally understood that what Black Zetsu said was true. So everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. So everyone can only put their hope back on the wind. After all, only Kazama has the ability to restrain Black Zetsu, which is something they have already verified. Brother Kazama, please save us. Yes, little brother Kazama, we have no other way now. Although we can easily hang and beat the ninjas in our village, you also know that these people are still people of our village. If we really give them to if we kill it, in the end, it will still fall into Black Zetsu's tricks, and it will still make Black Zetsu poop on our necks. Don't worry everyone, I have my own way. Hearing everyone's cry, Feng Jian immediately nodded solemnly to them. Because even if these people didn't come to plead with Kazama, Kazama would take the initiative to help them deal with Black Zetsu. After all, this Black Zetsu is indeed a bastard, a heinous person. And it has also provoked wars in the ninja world many times. Kazama yearns for peace very much, so Kazama naturally can't tolerate a bastard like Black Zetsu being arrogant here. So Kazama immediately flew to the army controlled by Black Zetsu. At this time, Black Zetsu was shocked when he saw Kazama start to attack. Although he is confident that it is impossible for the wind to let everyone get rid of his control at once. But he also knew that Fengyan's strength was very against the sky. Therefore, Black Zetsu is still very afraid of Kazama. So without waiting for the wind to speak, Black Zetsu immediately scolded the wind. Little bastard, can't you finally take the shot? But let me tell you, now I am not controlling a few people, but a few people. Thousands of people, and now I know that you have the ability to free them from my bondage, so I tell me the bad things ahead of time, and if you dare to try to get them out of my control, then I will order them right away cannibalism. Even if I can't let them kill you, I'll make you the murderer who indirectly killed them. Let's see if you will suffer or I will suffer, haha. Hearing Black Zetsu's words, Kazama felt even more annoyed in his heart. Because he never expected Black Zetsu to be so despicable. Therefore, in a face-to-face kung fu between the winds, he immediately cast his strongest different fire emperor flames again. Chapter 340 I'm really cool. At this time, Black Zetsu saw that he had clearly warned Kazama that he would kill these people. But he didn't expect Fengjian to ignore his warning at all. Instead, he prepared to cast Emperor Flame on himself without hesitation, and Black Zetsu suddenly became angry. You little bastard in the wind, didn't you hear what I said to you just now? I will kill these people instantly, so you'd better be honest with me. Stop talking nonsense, I'll tell you, I hate others to threaten me the most in my life in the wind, and you dare to threaten me over and over again. That's good, today I'll let you see my true strength. At this time, the wind looked at it with one hand. The overwhelming Emperor Yan immediately killed the thousands of ninja army ahead. In a single face-to-face effort, all the ninjas in the ninja villages of the 5 countries were burned into nothingness. At this time, when Black Zetsu saw that Kazama was so cruel, he was so frightened that he fell into a cold sweat. Therefore, he immediately wanted to take the opportunity to escape. It's a pity that now he has violated Kazama's inverse scale, which is a threat to Kazama. How could Kazama let him escape? As a result, Kazama blocked Black Zetsu's way with Dian immediately. The Black Zetsu firmly. At this time, the four shadows below and Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara and others, seeing that Kazama actually burned their respective ninjas into nothingness, it shocked them all. Among them, the first-generation Hokage immediately flew to Kazama's nose and questioned. I said, Kazama, we know that you are very powerful, but you don't need to take action against our subordinates, right? Yeah, although our subordinates are controlled by the bastard Black Zetsu, they are now involuntarily. Even if we want to shoot at them, we should trap them, not give them away. Kill it. At this time, all the people were accusing the wind constantly. But they didn't know that Fengjian was not that murderous person. Since Kazama dares to kill the ninjas under their command, Kazama will naturally be sure to resurrect them. After all, Fengjian has the technique of resurrecting life, the Yan of life. At this time, Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara believed that Kazama was not the bloodthirsty people. So he immediately came to Kazama, and said to the first-generation Hokage and others, everyone, you may have misunderstood Kazama, I think Kazama must have a purpose for doing this. What the hell is there? Kazama is a murderer. At this time, Black Zetsu also immediately started to fan the flames. He thought that since he had no way to kill Fengjian, he would confuse everyone and let them shoot at Fengjian. Everyone, what you see now is the true appearance of Fengjian. To put it bluntly, Fengjian is that scumbag, and he is also a serious murderous person. If you don't believe it, then you can totally do it. Look how your men died. Now that you have all seen your subordinates and were mercilessly beheaded by the wind, don't you believe my words? At this time, the four Kage-level experts, Hokage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, and Mizukage, all nodded solemnly when they heard these words.